please join me in our prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this beautiful weather you blessed us with today. And we just pray that you be with this meeting tonight, Lord. Just guide and direct us in the business of the city. Give us discernment, the knowledge to be able to make good decisions. We ask this in your name. Amen. Pledge. Attention. Salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Decent little crowd tonight. Let me first by saying thank you to Tony for taking the meeting last week. I appreciate that. I was able to watch online, which was good. The sound was great, by the way. So if anybody's having an issue hearing, watch it online. You can hear real good. But thank you again for running the meeting, Tony. I appreciate that. And hopefully everything will be better soon. All right. First up, citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens want to give any comments? You'll have a chance at the end of the meeting to do so as well. Approval of agenda. Is there any amendments to the agenda that we need to make? Add minutes. We need to add minutes.
Can we get them?
Yeah, they can.
Okay. I should check this after.
They were last week.
Hey, I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda. I don't remember.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Motion made by Juliet to approve the agenda, second by Andrew. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right, first up, proclamations. This week is National Public Works Week. At this time, we have a proclamation for them. It says, City of Lula, Georgia, proclamation, National Public Works Week, May 17th through the 23rd, 2026. Whereas public works professionals serve our community every day by providing essential services that support public health, safety, and quality of life. And whereas these dedicated individuals plan, build, manage, and maintain the infrastructure that allows our community to function, from roads and bridges to water, sewer, and stormwater systems. And whereas many public works contributions are highly visible, while others operate behind the scenes, yet all are critical to the strength and sustainability of our community. And whereas the 2026 National Public Works Week theme, Rooted in Service, Powered by Community, recognizes that the foundation of public works is a deep commitment to service and strong connection to the people it supports. And whereas the American Public Works Association has sponsored National Public Works Week since 1960, to educate the public about the importance of public works and to honor the dedication of those who serve in this field. And whereas the City of Lula recognizes the vital role public works professionals play in enhancing the quality of life for all residents and supporting the continued growth and prosperity of the community. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that the Mayor and City Council of the City of Lula do hereby proclaim May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. Say that 10 times fast. In the City of Lula, encourage all citizens to join in recognizing the contributions of public works professionals and to express appreciation for their service to our community. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Lula to be affixed this 18th day of May, 2026. Bruce Lane, Mayor, City of Lula. So when you see them out working, checking your meters, picking up garbage, doing so on and so forth, thank them. They do a lot of work for us around here. They keep things up. Yes.
Yes, with it being Public Works Week, it's kind of a big deal for our public works because a lot of times they don't get recognized for the work that they do because it's so behind the scenes. It's not like first responders. They have flashing lights and sirens, so everybody sees them. Whereas public works, you don't know if there's a water leak in town unless you happen to be on that street when they're fixing that leak. Most nights, police officers and firefighters and EMTs typically go to bed, have a pretty decent amount of sleep. Public Works, though, many of them worry, is this lift station going to fail in somebody's house when I back up with sewage? Or is this, pump station going to fail and somebody's house isn't going to be served with water? Or is that hydrant going to be dry when the fire truck pulls up? So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And included in that is not only our public works workers, but the engineers that go behind to make sure all this works for us and make the job easier for our public works guys. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes that make this work out. And most importantly, it's our elected body. Without you all voting to approve certain things, we couldn't do our job the way they need to do it. So we thank you as well.
We appreciate all the hard work that they put in. All right. Next up, public hearing, variance request 2026-004. Mr. Holmes?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now into the public hearing portion of the agenda. We have two public hearings tonight. The procedure we will follow is I will announce what the request is and give its location, and we'll then ask the applicant to come forward and explain to council the reason for the request. I will then ask if there are those here to speak in favor of the request, and if that is a reason that you are present tonight, then that will be your opportunity to speak. I will then ask if there are those here to speak against the request. If that is a reason you are here tonight, then that would be your opportunity to speak, and the applicant will then have an opportunity to respond to those who spoke in opposition. You have received the staff report, but I will then provide staff an opportunity to answer any questions that you may have about the report staff has delivered. If you're here to speak, if you come forward, please approach the podium, speak into the microphone, tell the members of the council your name and address all your comments to council, please. This is for property located at 6650 Noah Way here in Lula, tax parcel 115006D4086. Kareem Eucarpus seeks variances to reduce the front setback from 100 feet to 20 feet and to reduce the side setback from 80 feet to 15 feet for property zoned agricultural. Is the applicant here, please?
If I may interrupt for a minute, I have a conflict of interest due to potential financial benefit on this. I'm going to go ahead and recuse myself from the discussion and voting at the top of this matter.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Yes, kind of just to recap, the reason for this request for this variance is basically to, gain access to the most buildable spot located, like build site on this property. Because of the terrain of the property, to put it at the current setbacks, we would have to do a lot of digging, major digging and land, tree clearing to get the property ready to put a house on, which would create a lot of cost, and not to mention also there is also an existing septic system already in the ground on this property. And to put it at the 100-foot setback line, it'd basically be on the septic lines. Can't really do that anyway, unless, so the only way to do it would be to push it far beyond 100 feet, which would require, again, more clearing and grading. And so, and then the other reason would be that none of the other homes in this neighborhood are conforming to the current zoning setbacks of agricultural 100-foot setback. None of them meet that requirement. They're all approximately 20 to 30 feet from the front property line. And and there actually used to be a home on this property that matched those setbacks as well. It was since torn down long ago, and basically I'm just requesting to be able to put a home in the same place as that original home.
Any questions for the applicant from council at this time? We'll have an opportunity later if so desire. Thank you. Then have some questions in a little bit. Is anyone here to speak in favor of the request? Anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak against the request? Anyone here in opposition? Council, have any questions for the applicant? Otherwise, I will close the hearing and call on staff to provide their.
Quick question, one of these drawings says something about repair and the other one doesn't. I guess, like an email you sent said nothing, but then there's a second drawing that says repair. Sure. I just want to make sure we are clear on what that might mean.
So this is an image from the Hall County Environmental Health Department. This was the drawing of the initial septic system with the old home that I used to be here. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure why it says repaired, but it basically just kind of sketches out the setbacks from the home that was there to the septic system. This photo is the updated one that was done in April 1st, 2026.
Okay. Council, it's the last page if you're looking for it. It's the last page of the thing.
Yes, this one was done, as it says, April 1st. Someone from the Environmental Health Department, septic tank inspector, I guess, went out to the property, inspected it, and verified that the tank is in working condition. Everything's good with the drainage, the field lines, everything's good, and it is cleared for additional use for a 3-bedroom conventional system.
Okay, just trying to make sure we understood. Thank you.
So this, you're saying this came from the Department of Health?
The sketch that you're looking at is,
That's the requirement, for when they're thinking, doing an analysis on septic, because they'll have the drawings within the file, and it does look like, this was placed, 24 years ago, at least this drawing, was placed in the file 24 years ago, so maybe said 2010, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you saw the same thing, just asking staff. And at that time, that was not city of Lula, that was county at that time.
I believe what happened was, when it was a part of the county, the zoning standards were different. And obviously when it was annexed in as agricultural, it just, kind of, Jerry might know a little bit more about it, but obviously it just doesn't really make sense for that neighborhood as agricultural is supposed to be 5-acre minimums, 100 feet of setback. Whereas basically every lot in that subdivision is about 1 acre. And then, like I said, we're all about 20 to 30 feet of setbacks.
I was gonna say, I actually drove the neighborhood to verify and kind of see what the lay of the land was without actually getting off property. So we didn't have any issues there. And you're right, it looks like everything is pretty much in line with what you're asking.
Unfortunately, the zoning does not fall into place with that treasure.
And that's why I asked for a variance.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about anything else, but I'm ready to make a motion.
Now,
Oh, sorry.
now,
Question from, any other questions from council?
so my question would be, if we were to grant variance on this, would that not be detrimental to the rest of the subdivision? Because now we are basically going against the zoning that's in place. It would be better to rezone the whole subdivision so that we wouldn't have to deal with this going down the road, because now, if you're to do it for one, anybody that had any property could turn around and do the same thing, correct?
They could use it as a precedent.
Right.
So the ordinance does say that each variance request, every request is different. So that's.
That is quite significant of a change. Even though there was a home there, it's still quite a significant going against what the zoning already says.
Well, I got a question on that. Was the zoning's been changed since that went in?
Right.
So when it was put in, the original house was conformed,
To the county zoning.
and we changed the zone, and the city changed the zone and made it not.
No,
Let me tell council procedurally, I'm still at public hearing open, so if there's any questions of the applicant that will answer those, and then Jerry's prepared to get the staff report to address the issues relevant. No other questions before we have it, we'll declare the public hearing closed, we'll call upon staff to deliver the staff report. Thank you.
And yes, to answer the questions, apparently at one point in time in the county, back in the day, the county had it zoned under their zoning designation. It may have been agriculture, we don't know, because their maps have changed as well, just like ours. So what it looks like and appears is in 2020 or prior, that area was just blanket zone. So everything was agriculture. But in 2024, the ordinance changed. And when it changed, it looks like, and I can only assume, that a lot of the focus was on the downtown area and the 365 corridor, and some of the living areas, subdivisions, older residential neighborhoods, not as much attention was paid to those. So that Victoria Lane, that whole subdivision, and there was another one that I've identified, none of them meet the current zone that was done in 2024. None of them were 5 acres, and I got another map in there that shows how varied the front setbacks are in that neighborhood, and they're all like that. They go from 19 feet all the way, I think one of them is close to 200 feet. It's a long way from the road on a few of them, because they just got an easement basically for a driveway, and it's in behind another lot. So they're way back in the woods almost. So with strict regard to the ordinance, staff has recommended denying this because the ordinance is written as it is. However, there are mitigating circumstances because of the lay of the land, the second tank location, the field line locations, and everybody's talking about affordability. That's something to consider as well. Doing more grading and doing more work to the property just adds more cost to the property and to the development for that one. I think it's just over an acre. So, that's your all's decision, but I wanted you all to see how varied it was as far as the front setbacks went. And some of the side setbacks are the same way. They're not 80 feet, they're 20 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet. So it's very different. Some of them in the cul-de-sacs, the houses are right up on the road. So it is varied. And I just think that's due to the development when the county had it. So then the city inherited that, and that's where we are today. And the zoning ordinance does say, that it is what it is. It's 100-foot front, 80-foot side. But my recommendation, and I've mentioned this, is we review all of our zoning designations and look at some of these areas. And I would recommend maybe an ag residential area for this. That way they continue the ag use, because some of them do, use it as ag. Even though they're smaller lots, maybe look at an ag residential. That way they continue that use, but they still fall in line with the normal residential setbacks.
Would this fall into a normal residential setback?
It would, which is 45 feet if I'm not mistaken. A 20-foot or 25-foot, whichever reduction, is a whole lot less than 8 feet. So that's.
My main concern would be that it would be opening the door for some of these lots to add in homes. Some of those lots are fairly large. They have quite a big area. And I'm afraid that would open the door for that without it being zoned properly to begin with. And if it was zoned properly, that would make a difference.
It would. It would.
The ability to do variances, where's that power come from? Is that part of the assembly, General Assembly, when they created zoning and everything? Or-
Really, variances are only addressed under the zoning procedure law if it's part of a zoning request. So if there's a zoning request that includes a variance, then the zoning procedure law addresses variances. Otherwise, variances are to the local jurisdiction, but those are to the city. Then, state law or case law governs the propriety of granting a variance or denying a variance, but it's largely left to the local jurisdiction to address variances as opposed to zoning.
And typically, and our ordinance is worded that way, it's on a case-by-case basis, and kind of negates the precedent setting that a lot of people worry about.
In fact, it's specific, that variances based on the specific lot and the specific circumstances associated with that lot as it relates to the zoning designation. And then you get into a lot of what y'all were talking about is, non-conforming uses are permitted. This is where issues come in when there's a distinction between how a property is owned and something is there. Nobody's trying to, you're not permitted to take away what's there. It's just when that existing non-conforming use is no longer present, then you're back to the zoning designation that's applied by the city.
Any other questions?
Matter is before council.
Do we have any more discussion?
So our public hearing is closed.
Yes.
What is the staff recommendation?
To the max, based on the ordinance. So that you all can consider mitigating circumstances.
I know, there are several things that I think, would be mitigating circumstances as we're listed. I just, I don't know, Joey, we can't discuss, reasons why before a vote. We would be able to discuss, reasons after a vote, correct?
So you can discuss, the motion hasn't yet been made or seconded, but then that's when your discussion will occur, and then you vote on the motion.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some, interesting points that I would want to raise with council before we take a vote on this. And I think that, what's being asked is reasonable. It sounds as if, council and mayor support wants to, pursue rezoning for this entire area, this entire neighborhood, and I agree with that. I don't want to delay, cause any, undue delay, of this particular transfer of property and the actions that the applicant may want to take if ultimately we're going to, rezone in a favorable way for them to continue doing, what they're already pursuing today. I think that a variance, by the very nature of what it is, I mean, that's the whole point of having variances is when your zoning doesn't necessarily quite fit based on certain circumstances, that you can grant this variance and move forward. If we feel that, you're having too many variances, then yes, you would want to redo your zoning restrictions to meet, all of those things, if that in fact is what, council wants to do. I think that,
what's being proposed here is adding a single family residence. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what the majority of our comprehensive plan and what was discussed is that we want to have a single family residence. Another point in here is that the county in which this sits, we don't uh, levy any property tax, but the counties do. And so what this is doing, if we were to grant this variance and have a new home placed there, as, from the home that was there prior, we're just adding to the tax digest. And as we know, those funds eventually come back to us as a city to operate our city. So I think it's in benefit to our city, as well as, whoever is living there is contributing to the economy that we have, rather than having a vacant property. Because many times it's a city trying to encourage by whatever means necessary, variances included, trying to do what they refer to as infill of the types of properties that they want, where they've got vacant properties, dilapidated properties, where they try to, make these encouragements of people to apply for variances. They'll go out and put variances in place that don't, they may violate their current zoning just to get somebody to have improve the property. And so I think what we've got here is a situation where, this is being presented to us. Somebody wants to contribute, join our community, contribute to our tax digest, contribute to our economy, and I wouldn't want to do anything that would delay them of doing that. Now, I'm all in favor of changing any of the existing zoning for the rest of that neighborhood in alignment or something close to it. But that's certainly something that we would have to look at all properties. But being that this is a variance, I don't think this is precedent setting at all. And I don't think that we're going to encourage, any misuse of that. As Julie pointed out, these are individual case-by-case basis. So every single property is going to have a different lot lay, different lot lines, different requirements. May or may not have a septic tank already in place, may not have a working septic tank in place. So I think the due diligence has been done here, and I think I would be in favor of honoring this variance request. I just wanted to share my thoughts and analysis on that it does get us exactly what we need without delaying, someone else that wants to contribute to our community. And that's all I'll say. Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve this.
I'll second.
Motion made by Julia to approve the variance request, seconded by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next up, public hearing number for variance request 2026-005.
Yes. Thank you. This is for, I'm sorry, I'm gonna Andrew get back. Andrew told me before the meeting that he needed to recuse, and I told him not to forget, so I appreciate it. I did forget a little bit. This is for property located at 6208 Helen Street in Hall County, in tax parcel 15006A 004-001. Reagan Grizzle, on behalf of America's Home Place, filed seeking variances to reduce the setback from streets from 45 feet to 10 feet, and to reduce the side setback from 30 feet to 10 feet for property zone multifamily residential R3. Understand Mr. Ball is here on behalf of the applicant.
Mr. Councilman, and actually, Mr. Ball is the applicant. Little backstory on this, purchased the property next door.
Go ahead and tell them your name. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm Scotty Ball, I'm the property owner out there. I reside at 2713 Harvest Point in Gainesville, which is in Hall County. And a little backstory on this, and forgive me, let me go ahead and pass these out if I may.
Sometimes a picture can tell 1,000 words, we just see practically what they do this. Try to help us understand.
I purchased the house that's on your chart there, showing as existing house to the left, which is a little crosshatch house. Nice little home there off of Helen Street, and unbeknownst to me, it came with a separate tax parcel that was this vacant lot that is the triangle, which is the subject of tonight's hearing. And for several years, I've just paid taxes on that tax parcel, and I thought, well, I'd like to do something with it. You know, what can I do nice to add to the city of Lula? To try to put something in there that's very similar to the home that I have. So I went to the home place and asked them, you know, what would fit on a smaller lot and so forth. And underneath the schematic, you can see what we have sort of come up with to build on there, which is a stick-built home with a garage. The one that's kind of circled at the bottom, it would be a right-facing garage. We'll have to flip back in a moment. That gives you a little idea of what I would like to do with that property to, as Councilman Cornett said, you know, put another rooftop, a nice rooftop within the city limits. And then, you know, the second question is, well, where do we put it on here? So flipping back to the front, where's the most logical place to put this? County Line Road is, of course, a more traveled roadway than Helen Street. So I would want access to come off of Helen Street to limit, you know, in and out, ingress, egress onto a major thoroughfare. So they would turn in off of County Line onto Helen if this is approved, and then come in up there into their garage off Helen Street. What I'm proposing is very much in line with all of the surrounding homes there at Helen Street. There's only 5 or 6 out that way. And that's really, in a nutshell, the subject of what I'm looking for. With a 30-foot setback with a triangular lot, and really there's nothing you can do with it. It's just unusable. But this way with a 10-foot, there's still plenty of yard space between the existing home and the proposed home. You get a good traffic in and out there on Helen Street, and you add a nice home to the rooftops in the city of Lula. So that's why I'm here tonight.
Questions of the applicant?
I've got a question. So this proposed home, how many square feet is it?
I think it's about 14 or 1,500.
Is that a single floor or 2 floor?
Single floor. It has a tall roof with a sort of condominium style.
And you said 1,200 to 1,500?
I think it's 14 to 15.
14, 15? And are you proposing that this is going to be a single family residence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I noticed from County Line Road, we're looking at 20 feet, correct? Somewhere about 20 feet?
Yes, sir, that would be correct. From the right.
Mhm. And then, of course, the 10 feet between because I see the corner of the property there, corner of the house, 10 feet from the property line. You said you already own that property as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can certainly see how most any setback would make that property unusable. Mhm. I'm sure there's many properties out there that are purchased like that, that are just sitting. Yeah, definitely something to consider, the proximity to both streets, actually. It certainly makes this one unique. And this is on, city water and sewer?
Yes, sir. Without sewer would be a feasible situation.
Sure.
Who's the driveway to the existing house?
On the schematic, just come down Helen Street, turn straight up.
To that property line?
But that's not the property line.
Oh,
The railroad track is behind it.
And the piece of property he was looking at, the driveway was coming off county line.
Yes, that's correct. Right, there's an existing turn into this property off of County Line.
To your awareness, has there ever been a property or a residence on that property prior to?
That I couldn't tell you. Like I say, there is a turn in off of County Line Road that is paved, so it was used for something paved.
Tony, there was a house there formerly. It was very smooth.
Mm-hmm. That's all the questions that I have for now.
Any other questions from council at this time? Have an opportunity later. Thanks. Anyone here to speak in favor of the request? Anyone here to speak in favor? Is anyone here to speak against the request? Anyone to speak in opposition? I'll declare the public hearing closed and call on Jerry to deliver the staff report. Answer any questions.
So as you can see, the lot is very unique.
We'll get some more. Not saying that.
The lot is very unique, and putting a house there does infringe upon the setback requirements as the ordinance states. As far as staff, we look at the ordinance, look at the property, and the ordinance states the setbacks are this under the zoning designation. So staff recommends to deny the request. However, again, there's mitigating circumstances here. The lot is unique and makes it very difficult to build. So without the variances, they can't do it. And I don't know if there was a house ever on it. I assume there was, because of that drive off of County Line Road. And again, this is a council decision. It is zoned, what I found interesting, it is zoned R3, and right across the street is zoned R2. So I just find it interesting as we look at our zoning ordinance going forward. But I'll leave it to council if y'all have any questions.
Would this affect anything happening on River Ave in the future?
I would say no. I would say it wouldn't have any effect.
Would it only have a 10-foot setback come out county line right there? Is that not gonna affect
They
anything?
have to expand it the road slightly.
Yeah, they can't. do
They
anything.
might. I don't know if it would go that far down. I'm thinking it would go right there at the property, right behind it, right there where the road is. And then, I don't know, it would be tough. It would be tough.
And then my other concern would be the visibility around it, coming in and out, and then coming, if you're coming down County Line, you know, if something kind of come out at you from Helen with something there now. Would be a concern.
Especially with that curve right there.
Right, the curve's right there. Well, the
And how
great
fast
thing
you
is
drive.
there's already going to be an issue with Elm Street and, with Elm Street and County Line, it already exists. With that house being on Elm Street, I think that would take away some of that concern. Now, if it was coming out of County Line, I would be very concerned, going down to Elm Street. But with it coming out, the ingress, egress, being on Ellen Street, I think it makes it a little safer for the property. There's somebody wanting to go in.
Yeah, I can see where it'd be safer to come out Elm Street, but when you're looking back to the left, the house is, as Julia said, could be blocking a view, especially with that curve right there.
Right.
Your line of sight is gonna be diminished for the house. You only have that 10 foot, they're gonna have to pull out a little bit farther in order to
Now, I
see.
agree with that. The curve will have an issue. Will cause an issue with, sight distance.
Well, sight distance and the fact that people like to, stand with it.
And not to mention drive off the road.
Drive into the railroad.
But now we're supposed to, hopefully in the next year or two, maybe we can get enough money to widen that stretch a little, going back to, would this affect that property? I haven't seen the plans on what they have designed for this area, but that could be a concern in the future, yes.
And I just think that may cause an undue hardship on the homeowner at the time, not knowingly, if they were to come through.
Very well put.
But again, that is a very unique piece of property.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so your, to your knowledge of our engagement with the Department of Transportation, National Transportation Safety Board, John Ossoff's office, trying to remedy our situation with Railroad Avenue.
Right.
I was aware of 3 potential options, and I know that all of those options were at play, and none were satisfied because we didn't get sign off on anyone that's going to be funding or helping to fund that safety issue that we have with the Railroad Avenue. With that, my recollection of the options that we had caused a delay of another proposal regarding annexation and de-annexation directly across the street from this particular property. And there were options, I think you're right, it may be a little further up the road of a bypass that would create an island. I was not necessarily in favor of that, but I'm not sure what the state is going to, how the state is going to evaluate this as a viable remedy, because this particular section was so tricky that even prior to, like if you were approaching this, approaching Allen Street from County Line Road, from, going towards the issue at Railroad Avenue, that at one point in time, they were talking about lane closures with bars and lights and, having a 1-lane road for this particular section. And so with that being said, I'm not sure if perhaps maybe you have all the information that was presented to us and may still yet be available.
I do not.
Tony, there's also the concern that, and you can almost see the line, the property line here.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the options that we were looking at literally brings them right here. Basically in that spot.
Yes.
Yep, right there at Helen,
Mm-hmm.
almost.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be another concern, because we still have that potential in play.
So are we talking about the rerouting of 51?
Correct.
That's, I haven't heard if that's still in play, but I had heard of that. I didn't see what the route was.
It's rerouting of Railroad Avenue more than 51.
Okay.
Because what the discussion was to go basically, roughly, just so you might understand it, to go from, what is that, Griffin Farm Road, or is it Lawson Farm Road? And go behind those 3 properties. You would actually divide one of them, because it's the weird angle.
Right.
Divide it, and then it would come out literally into this curved area where this house is.
Mm-hmm.
So it literally come around right into it.
Okay. Just at the apex of that curve. Just.
Mm-hmm. It created a very undesirable island, which, would, I know at the time it had been brought up regarding, the safety of the families and residents that would live in those properties.
Right.
Because it would be 1 lane going one way, 1 lane going on the other on the backside.
Where they would have close proximity to a 2-lane road, just as what's being presented here.
Right.
Which illustrates to me the same safety concern.
Okay.
Now,
I know our engineers are still looking at this Railroad Avenue as far as getting it remedied, as far as a retaining wall, widen the shoulder, widen the road a little bit. I know they're still working on that to get the funding for it, but they're waiting on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a special case. Typically, they send it off to one of their consultants. However, because it's a special case, the railroad is reviewing it. and we're not sure which desk it's on. We just know that the revenues were getting, and in their defense, they just recently did a merger. So there's probably somebody being reassigned to take that task over.
All right.
Because this is one of the options right there, because you actually have all three properties. So that's one option. It's not a pretty option, but it's an option we had to consider at the time.
Right, and we, in agreement with, the other applicants for, that involved, some of the decisions on this, we delayed action as a result of not having definitive direction on those options. Because we were dependent upon yet another third-party involvement in that for, their engineering, funding, and what they would approve. So, we had to delay that action, because those options were not, clear. So we had to, if one of those options were selected and finalized, that may have, allowed certain other actions to have occurred, but unfortunately, that was not done. We couldn't do that anyway. So unfortunately, everyone had to wait. And that's where we're at right now. Everyone is waiting on that.
Okay.
I mean, I know he's wanting to move forward with the decision, so we're gonna have to make some kind of decision tonight.
Are we done with the staff?
Yes.
So we can close that and then bring it to council?
You can.
Does anyone have any other questions of Jerry? Mayor? I have none.
All right, at this time, we'll entertain a motion.
So now it goes to council, correct?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Julia.
Well, actually, I was gonna make a motion, and it's not gonna be probably a real right one right now. I was gonna make the motion that we deny this based off of the fact that we have the rest of this in limbo with Railroad Avenue. It's a huge safety concern for everybody, and I'm just afraid that if we were to pass it, a car running into a house, or another car running off into the railroad, or any number of other safety problems with the visibility, I just think we need to deny it. That's my motion.
I would second that and state that the safety concern, if, an approval of this now would impact the options for the larger safety concern of Railroad Avenue.
All right, so we have a motion to deny the variance request
And I'll second that denial.
due to safety concerns with Railroad Ave, County Line Road, that could pose risk in the future. We have a second by Tony. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. All right. Next up is Yard of the Month. This is blooming in May. So each winner for their district will receive a $100 credit on their water sewer bill for the month of June. First up, District 1 for Tony Cornett would be Jeffrey Cutler, 5349 Crown Oaks Drive, Lula. District 2 for Andrew Carlisle, Shannon Jenrette, 5556 McLeod Street, Lula. District 3 for Chris Llewellyn, Emily Wilkes, 6245 Carter Street, Lula. District 4, Garnett Smith, Richard Howard, 5356 Mountain View Parkway, Lula. And District 5 for Ms. Julia Roberts, Spencer Johnson, 6335 County Line Road, Lula. Congratulations to all those winners. You will receive that $100 credit for the month of June. And thank you for the beautification of your yards. Next up, finance.
All right, in your packet, you have a summary of the finances. If I can turn the page. should. There we go. So we have 10 accounts, and of the accounts that are broke out, we have a total of just over $9 million in our accounts. However, subtract just over 3 million of it, or right at 3 million of it, because they're heavily restricted. So, so we have right at $6 million available for repairs and funding of day-to-day operations. Anybody have any questions, any concerns?
Any discussion, any questions?
None for me.
We need a motion to accept the finance report. No. Georgia Small Cities update. I know the three of us went, Andrew, Juliet, myself, and I'll let each of them speak on their experience for the Georgia Small Cities Conference that we went to last week. India?
I actually did learn a lot about, what some of the other small cities are doing. And one of the things that was a huge focus was how can we better our city and what can we do, to promote our city, and if we're looking at rebranding ourselves, what are things to do? And one of the biggest things that I kept hearing over and over and over and over was, if you're a railroad town, don't take yourself away from that. Use what was here and why you were created to push where you're going for the future. I know that we've talked about a couple of times, possibly taking out some of the railroad elements. Everything I'm hearing from everybody in all the little towns, including, I got a lot out of the Talking Rock presentation, was use it. Bring in more cabooses or rail cars and redo them and turn them into event spaces or stores, and really focus on what you already had, what you already built, versus trying to push yourself in a different direction or push yourself away from it, to use what you really already have. And that was a huge focus that we just kept hitting over and over in a lot of the classes I took, because I took a lot of stuff for trying to help our town move forward. And with the growth that we've got and potential for more in the inland port, and that just seemed to be this huge focus for everything I took.
Andrew?
I took a lot out of it. I mean, everything here is a learning curve anyway, but what I got out of it a lot was investing in your town, investing in just improvements of your city. A lot of them did that. They took some of what wasn't looking so great or doing so great, and they turned it around and really made it nice and usable space. They used it for storefronts. They took things that weren't being used at the time that are in their towns that were existing and really had a big turnaround. Some of them had good results. Some of them had good results with negative impact, where things started to get real expensive, which upped property value, which could be viewed as bad, could be viewed as good, because if you're an existing resident, that means your house is worth more too. So it could benefit you in the long run. So that's what I took out of it. I also took that it takes time to do anything. But the more agreement you get, the better council you have that work together, get things done, and are motivated. You can really get through a lot of the red tape a lot quicker.
I was fortunate, I was in all of Andrew's classes, so I heard the same thing he did, but biggest takeaway, one thing that he just said was, things move slow, very slow. And I even made the comment, there's no reason for it to move slow. I don't believe anything should go slow. If you put your mind to it, you set goals, you reach those goals, you move forward. And a lot of the cities, if you listen to the way that they proceeded, that's what they did. They had small goals, they reached those, they went to the next step, they went to the next step. But as you said, you can price yourself out. There's a city in North Georgia that used to be one of the poorest cities in the state, now sits at average home price $1.1 million. So it priced the residents out, it priced their service people out. And, you gotta be careful on how you look at things, so. Tread lightly, what you want, and what was the one, careful what you wish for. So, but it's very good networking, be able to see what other cities are doing our size or small. Very good. All right. Sign ordinance. Jerry.
Our sign ordinance is 21 years old, was amended, I believe 10 years ago, there's an amendment attached to it. And, there's some language, not that it's bad or anything like that, it's just, it needs to be cleaned up, clarified in a couple of areas. One's a little confusing, is the way it reads. One part of it, the way it reads, is if you have a strip mall, it could really only have one sign. Just the way it just reads really, really weird. So, be getting, if you all are fine with it, and getting with Joey and bring a draft of the new sign ordinance. That way we can repeal everything and put a new sign ordinance in place.
And let me add, what brought this about was the new church that's going in next to the pharmacy. We know the pharmacy has a sign. We know that the former resident of the building that the church is going into had a sign. But there's a big but there. According to the ordinance, they were not supposed to have that, the way it's written. But if you look in town, if you look specifically up where Nails at the Rails, Grooming at the Tracks, Casa Lula, each one of them have a sign. According to the ordinance, there should only be one sign for that whole property. So that's kind of where this came about. Jerry and I discussed this, that it really needs to be looked at, because we're actually hindering businesses if they come in, especially if it's in a multi-business building. You're hindering them, because if you really look at the way it's written, it actually comes out as the first one there with a sign, that's it. So we need to look at that, straighten that up, get that cleaned up a little bit, so that we're not hindering these businesses when they do come in.
Or at least fix the wording.
And fix the wording in it, and that's basically all it is. And we went ahead and we approved for the church that's coming in, so they could have their sign. And really all we're doing is allowing them to use the same sign that was there from before.
We're the kind of
That's right.
provider had this sign. So.
Anybody have any questions about that, about how Joy to clean that up wording wise, so that we can?
No, I definitely think it's something that we need to look at. We need to clean it up, and I'm not saying lengthy ordinances are a bad thing. We need to clean this up.
And there's good stuff in here. I mean, there is.
There is some good stuff. It's just,
Common sense stuff,
it needs some work.
yes.
It needs some touch.
And this goes back to Muni Code, when we adopted that, to be able to go back in, I believe, is that what we discussed, that we could take each one individually, amend it, and clean it up.
Yeah.
So this is kind of going back to that.
Just tell council, sign ordinances, get into the free speech issue.
Right.
Once you stick your toe in that pool, you will not remove it. So we'll have to be very cautious as we go through. And we are about due for another round of sign litigation. This sign ordinance came out of a U.S. Supreme Court case from 2015. All the local governments, once that Supreme Court case came down, that essentially struck most language of everybody's ordinance that were amended, similar to Lula's. Then there was a billboard company that came through and sued just about every town in North Georgia. They would file, or say 20 billboards, and then settle for one or two. Everybody was opposed to billboards, and most local governments were. And then that company, as part of the settlements, would say, we will revise the ordinance in a way that would overcome the litigation we would pursue, and that was fairly uniform. So as we start, it's about every 10 years, so we're about to, another round of sign ordinance litigation. I'm just telling you, it's a tightly controlled area because of free speech. And what most governments do, a lot of what was just discussed, is wants to favor commercial, what's defined as commercial speech. We want to favor business. But the law doesn't permit you to do it that way, so you have to create an ordinance that does not regulate based on the content of what will be within the sign.
That's why we gotta be careful with our wording. I remember that all too well. I remember it. It was, for our job, we redid the ordinance and then we had to turn right around and do it again when the billboard lawsuit went through. So, yeah, that was interesting times.
Any other comment, discussion?
I'm in favor.
We'll move forward with that. Next up, branding logo presentation. Everybody had that last week, and I did watch that last week. I didn't get to see Jordan's book. I heard it was very nice, some of the renderings that he had. And then if you look in here, Jerry did update the pictures in here to reflect another option in here that Andrew had come up with that incorporated the train, which looks very nice as well. And I would like to put a deadline on this. This has been getting kicked down the road for over a year and a half now. Looking at different logos, looking at different things, and it's time to put it to bed. So my goal is at the end of our next meeting, we have this up. At the end of the June meeting, we will have a logo that we agree upon that we'll move forward on. Any questions or discussion?
I'm in favor, and I would like to point out that I'm just now looking at this really for the first time, and it's some of those new items that are in here are very well put together. I know we've got looks like an embroidery layout, a hat layout, definitely changing around the various elements of the logo, and then a very detailed one that can be used for high resolution graphics, print graphics. Looks like it even has railroad spikes on it. That is quite impressive. And I also noticed that what we're featuring here is Humble Railroad Days. Certainly a slogan I think we all can get behind. It goes along with what Juliet was just talking about with the Small Cities Conference, and embracing the railroad as well as the railroad imagery that we have in here. Very nice, very well put together. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, next up, social media policy. Did everybody have a chance to look that over? I know there was discussion last Monday on this as far as wording. If you had any questions, make sure you went over this, that we could adopt this and move forward.
I'm okay with adopting it. If there's anything we ever need to add to it, we certainly can. But this gives us a good place to start.
Good start.
Mm-hmm. And so we can move forward with that, and then, like I said, add to it as it becomes necessary.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the current policy as written currently.
I'll second.
Motion made by Juliet to approve the social media policy as written. Seconded by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10 was an amended item that we added in, minutes from last meeting. Any questions? Or would you like more time to look them over before we do approve those and approve them next meeting? I'm assigned to that.
I've been more times.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. So, anybody got a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we, table for now, sorry, word completely escaping, table for now.
I'll second.
Motion made by Juliet to table minutes from last meeting until the next meeting, second by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And Angie, thank you for getting those out early. It's our fault for not reading them earlier.
Sorry.
I apologize.
I did see them.
I mean, I listened to
No.
it. Here.
Chris wasn't the only one. I read those, but now what I read may not be what I thought I saw. Next up, citizens' comments. Anybody have any comments? Yes, come on up, man.
Thank you for pulling me out of the ditch.
We'll explain that in a minute.
My name is Jane Benson. I live at 4719 Oak Creek Highway, which is not within the city limits of Lula, but I always come to the meetings because I like to know what's going on. So the mayor comes from here. The first issue we're talking about, the proclamation for the city employees. The Lula ladies feed them every Thursday. We have a Lula lady meeting. We've been doing this for 8 years. We love our city workers. They make our city so pretty, well manicured, nicely turned, taken care of. The next issue I want to mention is I love the idea of really promoting our train industry. I think trains are embedded in the psyche of Americans. We love trains. And look at the response we had at the Caboose on Railroad Days. We could have run that thing all day long. People love it. Even little kids have never seen a caboose. Want to know about it, they like that. So I think, play with what you've got. We have a railroad history. I remember back in the 80s up in Louisville, we had a nice steakhouse. It was in an old boxcar. It was called Victoria Station. You remember Victoria Station? Excellent steak. It was very good. And the last thing that I'm a little puzzled. I don't see any excitement for our sesquicentennial. The Historical Society, we're doing several things, but I don't see any big banners. I don't see any plans for a picnic or a parade. You only get one sesquicentennial. The next big deal is 50 years from now. We won't be alive. We don't get to celebrate. Is there any plans that I just don't know of? Maybe I'm under my back and I don't know about it.
So each event this year actually will host a part of the sesquicentennial. So the game night was actually started because of the sesquicentennial. Railroads, we did have up the sign, but unfortunately, you really couldn't end up seeing it because there was a truck in the tent in front of it. So there were parts of it, and there are stickers that we're going to pass out on all the events, or at least the Historical Society had them. But each event is supposed to have some aspect. Like the car show is going to have even more trophies and stuff in honor of the sesquicentennial. So,
but that's the Historical Society. What is the city?
I think the city could look at doing some permanent banners from now until the end of the year that we can put out.
And the logo's already created. The logo's already created.
Yeah, I mean, something, I don't want to say generic, but something that would cover, they basically cover everything, put them at the gateway signs and, go from there. At least everybody would know that's what we're celebrating.
Right. Yeah.
I think we can look at doing that. We need, what, 5?
Yeah. Some enthusiasm,
Mhm.
Maybe it's just
I agree.
me, but.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Railroad Days is great. We need to build off that.
Okay.
Yeah, I see the red elephant came around, little sign, happy birthday, all that. Get a Sasquatch and says.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
I was just gonna say the red elephant just got a facelift too. I saw it the other day. It looks really good. It's nice and bright red.
Just as long as you keep in mind that sesquicentennial colors really are green and gold. And the logo's already done for you, so you don't have to do anything as far as that.
So we could roll out that
If you
caboose,
really
put
want
some
to
googly
Sasquatch.
eyes on it, right? Just roll the caboose around the city.
Good, hey, as long as the Historical Society doesn't have to take on one more project.
I think we can handle things good.
But, yeah, I would really love to see more enthusiasm,
We're working on something for Christmas too, so
And that's fantastic, because, these events only happen once.
yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And if anybody wants to know about getting towed out of the ditch,
Yeah, I'm
ask Miss
curious.
June. I'm not saying a word. Any other one, anybody else for citizens' comments? All right. Council comments. We'll start with Tony tonight. Start first.
Well, I do want to say, it's beautiful outside and hot. Stay hydrated. I just think it's great for us to all get together. This was a very positive meeting, and we're making traction. It really feels good to have all the council engaged in learning and meeting with other cities. And I'm glad that you guys are able to bring some of that commentary back to us. And I know we have more to come and more to look forward to this year. There's an annual conference, a fall training event, and there's just several more opportunities for us to bring things back to Lula. And it's really exciting to see our staff and mayor and council all working along with the input from our citizens and those that are just outside the city that come to our meetings. But it's great to hear all the input. So keep it coming. Thank you.
Just want to thank everybody for being here tonight, or everybody that's listening. The good news is, yeah, it's hot outside, it's nice, but unfortunately, it might not be that nice because there is rain on the way, which we need that tremendously, so hopefully we do get some. Hopefully, my next announcement, it doesn't affect it too much. It is that time of month again, Liberty Church is holding the loaves and fishes. Food pantry this Friday, 2 to 4 is the pre-packed boxes, and then Saturday is 8 to 10:30, where you can go in there, first come, first serve. You can go and shop, kind of set up like a grocery store. And that is at 7439 West County Line Road in Lula. So we look forward to you being there. Bring anybody who can be there. If you know anybody that needs help or is down or up, send them our way.
Go ahead.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. Hot night, pray for rain.
Thank you all for showing up tonight, but please show up and who's listening or watching, or will listen and watch. There's a couple of things on here, kind of feeding off of June's thing for the Susman Centennial. It's not listed on the upcoming meetings, but the next game night is actually June 3rd. It's on a Saturday. And we will do like a little hot dog cookout with that. And maybe able to talk one of our locals into doing corn dogs too. June 13th from 3 to 5. And then of course the car show is on June 6th. We are full with vendors, no more vendors. But we welcome all the cars and all the people that can come because we have a huge vendor lineup and we have some really exciting kids activities that are coming. We're hoping bigger than ever. In fact, we've advertised in more places than we've ever advertised. So we're hoping for a huge turnout. I've already gotten 6 phone calls today. So I think it's good. Another comment I can say.
And Mr. Llewellyn.
I thank everybody for coming out. As Tony's mentioned, it's still like summertime. I've already given council, mayor, staff a heads up, but as of the close of this meeting tonight, I'm resigning. I want to thank everybody that supported me, voted for me in 2 cycles. As I told the council in the email, I think the future for Lula is very bright. Would encourage citizens, don't be afraid of growth. I know everybody gets scared, but embrace it, use it. You can make this town basically whatever you want. I really think the future like it is very bright. The thing I told the council in the email is I think Lula could easily be Flower Branch's north. I know a lot of people don't like Flower Branch. Everybody I've talked to that lives there loves it. They absolutely love it. So anyway, y'all have the option to make whatever you want. I really enjoyed getting to know everybody up here. No Gordon all my life, but the rest of everybody else I did you in passing. So thoroughly enjoyed getting to know everybody, and I'm I'm out of town more and more, already missed a couple meetings, call meetings, and it's just not fair to the city, so as a close of meeting, I will go back.
Well, I get the distinct honor of thanking you, sir,
Thank
for your service to the city, and for getting me into this mess. Chris is the one that recommended me for the planning commission, and it kind of went from there, but I really enjoy getting to know you, getting to work with you up here and stuff, and I wish you all the very best, Northern Missouri, beautiful, beautiful state. Looks like where you're gonna be out there is gonna be wonderful. I know the goat's gonna like it, lots of food. Enjoy the nice cold winters and snow. Enjoy it. And when you want to come back, you're welcome anytime. So thank you very much for your service. We much, much appreciate it. So, and thank you everyone for coming out tonight, for the comments. For those watching online, thank you very much. And it feels good to be back. I missed it last week, even though I got to watch it on my phone. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. And moving forward, we'll get better here. So a few things. Lula Ladies Lunch and Dinner Wednesday, May the 20th at noon and 6:30 at the Depot. City Hall will be closed Monday, May 25th in observance of Memorial Day. And as such, a Memorial Day presentation Monday, May 25th at 10 a.m. at the Depot, sponsored by the Historical Society of Lula Belton. Lula Development Authority meeting Tuesday, May 26th, 6 p.m. here at City Hall. Historical Society of Lula Belton meeting Monday, June the 1st at 6:30 at the Depot due to Memorial Day. And then Planning Commission meeting will be Tuesday, June the 2nd, 6 p.m. here at City Hall. Lula Car Show, as already mentioned, will be Saturday, June the 6th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Great Banks Park. Come on out, enjoy the vendors, enjoy all the pretty cars and all the fun stuff going on there. Next, Lula City Council work session will be Monday, June the 8th, 6 p.m. here at City Hall. And most of us will be going to Savannah at the end of June, and which we'll mention again in our next session, but looking forward to the GMA conference down there as well. And I think that was about it. Anybody have anything else you want to add to that? Again, thank you very much, everyone, for coming out. Any more comments, as Mr. Llewellyn?
Chris, I could beat you for getting me into this.
Everybody blames me.
Okay, you were one of the ones that came to me and said, you have to run, you have a voice. No, but thank you. Thank you for being a part of council. Thank you for always being somebody that, I bounce ideas off of or thoughts. Thank you for being a great friend and do not make yourself frustrated.
Thank you, Chris. You've always been there. You happy? My food up here at the Rogers. Play together. Yep.
I thank you too, Chris, and I do believe you were part of why I'm in this seat too.
So we can all blame Chris is what I'm hearing.
It's universal. Garnett can't.
Garnet can, but the rest of us can, right? Of course not.
Well, he can, but
I'll go ahead and blame you. I'm not gonna do that. It's not my fault. It's, if we've done anything wrong, it's 2 seats down from me right now.
Yeah, we would have about that, but yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That and he's just so stubborn, he doesn't let up. Maybe a little bit.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
yes, thank you very much.
I guess you need a motion to adjourn, don't you?
Yes, we do.
So I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I guess a second.
Motion made by Juliet to adjourn, second by Garnett. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.